What's it to you? The things that I do, the disdain I see, don't mean much to me. So why don't you make like a tree? Get the hell away from me. Take your lying and your fear. Get the punk out of here. Maybe it's not clear. No one wants you here. Go slip on some ice. Poke out your cigarette. Why don't you make like a leaf? Blow away into some relief. Take your ugly fantasies. Rock it off to Mercury. Why don't you make like a tree? Get the hell away from me. Take your lying and your fear. Get the fuck out of here.
Scene 1, college campus. Tim Boland, 18, sits on a bench with his head hung low. He is wearing a t-shirt, glasses, and shorts. His face is stained with tears. Chloe Shore, 18, dressed in a hoodie and jeans, approaches Tim.
Pardon me, but are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You certainly don't seem fine.
It's embarrassing enough crying in front of a stranger. I really don't want to get into why.
I'm pretty sure I saw you at freshman orientation. When they asked who knew what they wanted to study, you were one of the few who raised your hand.
So,
You said you wanted to be a print journalist. It stood out to me because I do too. We're a dying breed. We need to stick together.
would you please leave? I prefer doing my wallowing alone.
Well, come on. If it makes you feel any better, I am sort of impressed to see a guy who is willing to cry out in the open.
Well, I certainly wasn't going to cry in front of my roommate, who I've known for like a day. It isn't exactly something that most guys are comfortable with.
Right. Society frowns upon the sensitive guy who cries. After running into one too many bros, it's refreshing to see the opposite.
Well, I guess I'm just breaking down the male stereotype one tear at a time.
I know I don't know you from Jack and you don't know me from Jill, but if you're willing to put yourself out there and break your crown, then I'm willing to come tumbling after.
That's a cute line. You just think of that?
No, I was sort of saving it for the right occasion when I met someone I thought it might be worthy enough for.
How do you know I'm worthy?
I guess I don't, but at least make wasting that line on you worthwhile and tell me why you're out here on a bench crying.
Okay. There's this girl,
Oh, of course there is.
and I thought we were good friends, but the last couple of times I've called, she has hung up on me.
That's weird. If she doesn't want to talk to you, why is she even answering? Picking up to just a hang up is ice queen cold.
It's a landline. We both live in an area with bad cell service.
What? No caller ID?
We both have frugal parents. No need for such frivolous things as caller ID. I didn't even get a cell phone until a few years ago, and that was only supposed to be used if I was dying in the ditch on the side of a road. My mom's exact words.
Okay. So that part of your story checks out.
What? You think I'm just spinning yarn out here for your amusement?
No, I'm just trying to be a good journalist. Get all the details. Is there a reason she'd be upset with you? Let's break down the facts. When was the last time you saw her?
Last week, we were just hanging out. We discussed heading off to college. Things ended on a good note. We promised to stay in touch and talk soon.
There's nothing you can think that would have upset her?
I don't know. She has been talking about how she landed this modeling gig for a few months now, but there's no evidence of it being true. I asked a mutual friend if she thought it was real. Maybe I go back to Emma. That's her name. And she took offense.
That seems pretty minor. Nothing you couldn't talk out.
Well, it's her dream to be an actress, and she saw this as a way to get an agent, and so on. So maybe she thought I wasn't being supportive or something.
That's possible. Honestly, if that is the reason, I can see why she'd be upset. But if you're really good friends, I'm sure you'll work it out.
Well, I hope so. We actually went to prom together, just as friends. She got a haircut just before prom and looked just like Molly Ringwald from Pretty in Pink. Once she realized it, she got herself a pink dress.
Aw, I look pretty in pink, but I hope her dress was better than that hideous one in the film. What was done to allegedly fix that beautiful 50s dress was irredeemable.
Yes, that fashion faux pas was avoided. The day of, we decided we were going to remake the film's prom scene. We secretly filmed everything guerrilla style. It was a blast.
That's amazing. Well, that certainly doesn't sound like the kind of friendship you would just throw away. If it's the modeling thing, you may have just struck a nerve. She's probably self-conscious about it. How old is she?
17.
Ah, yes, 17. I remember it like it was yesterday.
How old are you?
18. Today's my birthday. So now I've used 2 good lines on you.
Oh shit, is it really your birthday?
Yep.
What the hell are you doing wasting your time with some sad sack you don't even know?
Don't worry about it. It's not like I know anyone else yet. Plus, I'm not entirely sure my roommate's all there. I walked into the room and she already had her whole side of the wall covered in Lisa Frank collages. And I mean, every single inch is covered. Now, I love pastels and neon colored animals and rainbows as much as the next girl, but there's a line.
Well, regardless, I hope I haven't ruined your birthday. I'm Tim, by the way.
Chloe, and not at all. Like I said, us journalists need to stick together.
Right. Well, let's let me buy you a slice of cake. Do you even know where to get a slice of cake in this town? I haven't really explored much yet.
Aw, thanks. And I don't either, but let's go explore a new beat and see what we can shake out.
Tim and Chloe begin walking. They mime talking. As they are walking, time is passing, which will be conveyed through lighting sound cues and a quick costume change.
Tell me again why we've committed 2 years of our college experience to honing our skills and a dying art. Don't get me wrong, I gladly purchased a ticket to the psychic ship, but just remind me one more time why we aren't specializing in social media, blogging, or online media.
Because everything cycles back around eventually. Think about it. 8-bit and 16-bit video games are popular again. Vinyl is back in a huge way. Heck, even cassette tapes are making a comeback.
We're betting our careers on hipsters, Lord help us.
The tangible is coming back. People like vinyl because they can see it and hold it. Digital music may be more portable, but there's something about actually holding an album in your hands, placing it on a turntable, and dropping a needle. People crave that. Print media will get its day back in the sun too, and we'll be there. While everyone else has been dumbing themselves down to 280 characters, we'll have the skills to give people what they're missing.
Well, if journalism doesn't pan out, you've got a career in motivational speaking.
Listen, we're gonna be okay. Let's make a pact. If one of us makes it, they bring the other one with them.
Yeah, I'm in. If you are.
Of course, we make a great team. Hashtag Journal Sluts for life.
Journo sluts, eh? Do you think we can get that trending? After all, we're going to have to whore ourselves out to get any work in this business.
We'll be on the street corners.
A car pulls up and asks, what you got?
Oh, I got what you need, baby. Opinions, investigative pieces, movie reviews, celebrity interviews, sports profiles, obituaries, school board meeting notes.
Get in the car.
They continue walking. More time passes. Another quick change.
Tim
Tim
Boland
Boland.
is a terrible name.
Ah, thanks.
Oh no, it's a fine name. It's just a terrible byline. You need a pen name, something that sounds like a journalist with a capital J.
All right. What do you have in mind?
Tuck Brockton.
Oh, good. I can keep my monogram towels. What about you?
What about me? My name's awesome. Chloe Shore, reporting for duty.
They continue walking. More time passes. They change into graduate caps and gowns and smile for a photo. They celebrate graduating by moving their tassels to the left as they walk to opposite sides of the stage. There's another quick costume change. More time passes. We see both of them struggling as journalists. Chloe pulls out a cell phone. Tuck's phone rings. He answers it.
Hey, Chloe, what's up?
I got passed up for another promotion.
Ugh, Chloe, I'm sorry.
I've been at this for a couple years and I'm still hearing the same damn thing, that I lack experience. They gave it to some 60-plus white guy. I'm tired of working for an ageist boys club.
You'd think single-handedly leading a college newspaper into an award-winning publication would count for something.
Oh, but you see, that wasn't real world experience, but it might be for the best. I pitched an interview with the director of a gender reversed version of Sweeney Todd, set in 1950s New York. But the story was spiked because the venue producing the production isn't an advertiser.
That's not how it works, like, at all.
You aren't wrong. But I was told that the newspaper's lifeblood is advertising. So they have a strict you scratch our back, we scratch your back policy.
I know that print media is dying, but there's gotta be a better way to generate advertising dollars than strong-arming people.
It just sucks because we're ignoring news. I shouldn't have to be worrying about this. I should just be able to write about things that will interest our readers.
Sadly, everyone has to wear multiple hats these days. It isn't fair. But if anybody can do it, you can. Maybe you can pitch a way to incentivize advertisements.
I don't know. Maybe I could suggest offering an advertising package that includes print, special placement on the website, and a social media presence.
Yes! See, that's why you're destined to be an editor and I am just a lowly writer.
The problem is we don't have a social media presence.
Tell me you'll create and manage all the social media accounts.
There's no budget for it.
Tell them you'll do it for free. And once you've established followers, pitch the cross-platform advertising model in place of the current one. Prove your worth, make yourself invaluable.
You're right.
Damn straight I'm right.
Okay, all right. I'm feeling energized now. How about you? How are things?
I actually got a bit of a break yesterday. My editor had an interview lined up with a local musician, but his wife went into labor. So he handed me his questions and told me to do it.
That's fantastic.
Here's the thing. The questions were really generic, so I went in rogue and did my own thing. I got into a debate over who was the greatest frontman, Freddie Mercury or Robert Plant. I just submitted a piece. I'm terrified they'll get in trouble for not simply doing the editor's questions.
Hopefully your editor is able to see you made it better.
Do you think this will ever get easier?
Yeah, when we're the bosses.
Tuck and Chloe stand up and walk to opposite sides of the stage. More time passes. There's another quick costume change. Chloe once again calls Tuck. Tuck's phone rings. He answers it.
I got a job. You're talking to the new editor of Hit Magazine.
No way! Congrats! Clearly all the freelancing for them paid off.
They want to do a complete overhaul and rebranding. And they liked my style and ideas. And the best part is, I get to bring on anybody I want with me. And I'm bringing you.
Really? You're serious?
Completely. We had a deal after all. You'll be the head features writer, your dream job. You'll get to do all the celebrity interviews, musicians, movie stars. We've been given the keys to the kingdom. Are you ready to reign?
Abso-friggin-lutely. Lead the way, my liege.
Chloe and Tuck run towards each other and hug in celebration. Blackout. Scene 2. Cafe 80s, New York City. Tim, now officially going by Tuck Brockton, is a 26-year-old journalist. He is sitting at a table waiting for the 3 members of Catchy Band Name, who he has to interview for an article for Hip. He is wearing a nicely fitted dress shirt and slacks. He still wears glasses, but the frames are more fashionable. He now sports a neat goatee. He is visibly annoyed because the band is an hour late. The members of the band, Ash on guitar, and lead vocals Flash on bass, and Bobby, the drummer, stroll over. They are a pop punk group dressed in ripped jeans and band t-shirts.
Hello, I'm Tuck. Glad you guys made it. Fashionably late will always be in style.
That's what we were going for.
I understand that you guys are busy, so let's just jump right in.
Bring it on.
So, first off, Ash, Flash, and Bobby?
Yep.
Ash and Flash are nicknames. Our real names are both Ashley. Originally, we had the idea of being a band of Ashleys, but Bobby crushed the audition.
Because Bobby plays drums, we thought Bash would be a great way to keep the Ash theme going. He even gave an ultimatum about the name.
But you called their bluff.
Uh-huh.
So, what are your influences?
Our primary influence has always been Green Day.
Does it go any deeper than that?
Well, naturally, we know that Green Day was influenced by early punk bands like the Ramones and the Clash, which we all respect, but Green Day had a more direct influence on me. I had an older brother who was obsessed with them.
Yeah, it was Green Day that made me want to join a band. The album Dookie really connected with me on a personal level. None of us cared for their later albums, especially Warning.
Oh God, what a dreadful album.
Wait. I quite like that album. What are your problems with it? I thought it showed both musical and lyrical growth on the part of the band that ultimately led to American Idiot.
We all respect their desire to grow musically, but for me, I didn't like what they grew into. They just seemed to have lost what made them so great.
That being...
Their early work had this great existential feel to it, that with each progressive album seemed to get lost. By the time Warning came around, they were just alternating between tired rebellion songs and ballads.
I disagree with that, but let's put a pin in that for now. What exactly is existential about Green Day?
There's an incredible sense of apathy and loneliness on Dookie.
Yeah, but how does that make the album existential?
Well, existentialism is the idea that we are alone in the universe.
You'll have to forgive me. I haven't taken a philosophy class since college, so I'm a bit rusty. But if I recall correctly, the belief that there's no God was a key aspect for some existentialists, but that doesn't necessarily mean apathy and loneliness. Isn't existentialism more about exploring what having no God means and trying to find one place within the world?
Have you read Albert Camus' The Stranger?
No, but I have a feeling I wish I had.
You should. It's one of my favorite books.
You see, Camus was at the forefront of existential fiction writers.
Wait, have you all read it?
Yep.
You know, Bob, you don't say much. Got a sort of Silent Bob thing going, huh? I dig it.
It's my ambition to say in 10 sentences what other men say in whole books.
Nice Nietzsche pull, Bobby.
Thanks.
Oh, jeez. Now you guys are quoting Nietzsche? I'm seriously feeling at an intellectual disadvantage. How is it that you're all familiar with existentialism?
We were all philosophy majors in college.
It's how we met.
Interestingly enough, in a class on existential authors.
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Anyway, The Stranger is in essence about a man that feels alone and incredibly removed from the world. So much so that he doesn't care to save his own life.
Dookie may not exactly tap into that, but on a song like Longview, where you have a protagonist who proclaims that masturbation has lost its fun, which, let's face it, for a teenage boy, isn't that different from not caring to save your own life.
I don't know. I still think it's a stretch to call Dookie an existential work simply because it deals with issues of loneliness and apathy. I know I felt alone and apathetic from time to time. That doesn't make me an existentialist.
Maybe so, but when you're young and you're trying to find your place in the world, that in a way is an existential exploration.
But that in itself doesn't make every teen or 20-something an existentialist. To claim Dookie and all teens are existential only works metaphorically, as a deeper meaning is unintended. I'm sorry, but do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once, while clever doesn't scream profound philosophical thought?
Just because something shows up in a piece of artwork and is unintentional doesn't mean that it's unimportant. The fact that it's unintentional is irrelevant.
No, you guys seem like you're over intellectualizing something that is relatively simple and pure. What made Dookie so good was that it captured teen angst and humor so well. If you're going to choose a Green Day album to discuss existentialism with, American Idiot would seem to be a better fit, as it focuses on a disillusioned young man that's trying to discover how to live in a society that he has lost his faith in.
I guess we'll have to simply agree to disagree.
Fair enough. We sort of got off track there.
No worries. It's not like we get to wax that philosophical anymore.
Glad to be of service. So, any chance I can get you to re-listen to Warning?
Don't press your luck.
Scene 3. Tuck's office at Hip. Tuck sits at his desk, his lanky body bent over as he vigorously types. His hair is disheveled from running it through his fingers repeatedly out of frustration. The glow of his computer screen provides the only light on stage. The sun went down an hour ago, but Tuck was so intent on finishing what he was writing that he couldn't be bothered with turning on a light. Tuck bites his lower lip in anticipation of the conclusion to his article. A slight grin comes across his face as he writes the concluding sentence of the article on catchy band name.
As the saying goes, never judge a book by its cover. In the case of Catchy Band Name, the cover of their book hides a text that is far more thoughtful than anyone could have imagined.
Leaning back in his chair, Tuck smiles widely and hits save. He stands up, hits the lights, stretches, cracks his back a few times, and does a brief victory dance. He looks proudly at the wall, which features his favorite articles framed. As he turns to look at them closer, his smile turns to a frown. His euphoric feelings of accomplishment begin to fade away. He begins pacing and glares down at his computer. Grumbling to himself, Tuck sits back down. While reading through his words, he occasionally stops to rephrase or move sentences around. But for the most part, he just shakes his head in shame.
This is shit. I've written a steaming pile of shit. Was I sitting on a chair or a toilet when I wrote this?
Chloe knocks on Tuck's open office door and comes in before Tuck can even respond.
You talking to yourself again? What did I tell you about that? You don't want people to think you're crazy, do you?
Hey, how's it going?
Took my first day off in what feels like a year.
Good for you. You should probably do that more often. All work and no play makes Chloe a mean editor.
Gosh, since when have I ever been a mean editor?
Well, you weren't too pleased when that Brad Pitt interview fell through?
Well, that was Brad Pitt. He was going to be our cover.
Yeah, you threw a chair.
A slander. I pushed a chair.
It went flying across the room.
It was on wheels.
Whatever you say, She-Hulk.
Anyway, the day was a bust. I was going to go for a run, and then it rained. I was going to get a mani-pedi, and the place was closed. Then I thought, okay, how about a massage? And now I am in more pain than before I laid on the damn table. I'm beginning to think Murphy's Law should be renamed Chloe's Law.
Mani-pedi, I didn't even think that phrase was in your vocabulary.
I'm allowed to feel pretty too, you know. But I just thought I'd stop by the office to see if anyone was around. Well, let's face it, to see if you were around. You're nothing if not predictable. I figured you hadn't eaten. I brought you Taco Bell.
You know the way to my heart.
You know it. I got the 3 food groups here: chicken, steak, and ground meat substitute.
What would the world be like without ground meat substitute?
You know, why don't you just get it over with and then move your bed into the office?
Well, I did just get off the phone with the movers. Just wanted to get the okay from you before I go ahead.
It's fine with me. You could sublet your apartment and make a little extra cash on the side. So why are you here? Well, everyone else is out enjoying their weekend.
I just finished the catchy band name article.
And?
Same old, same old.
What's that supposed to mean?
That it's like everything else I've ever written.
Well, good. That's why I hired you.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just so light and fluffy.
Well, if you feel your writing is not up to snuff, I guess I'll have to let you go. I mean, just because I'm your friend as well as your editor doesn't mean I won't fire you.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Listen, Mr. Grumpy Pants, can you just not right now? I've had a shitty day and you aren't helping. So just send me the article. I'll read it tonight and I'll tell you whether it sucks in the morning. Meet me back here at 9 a.m. Bring coffee and bagels.
All right. What kind of coffee and bagel do you want?
I don't know. Figure it out.
Scene 4. Tuck's office at Hip. Tuck arrives promptly at 9 a.m.
Tuck Brockton on time? Wow. This must be some kind of funk you are in if the punctuality has been brought out in you.
So it would seem. Here's your caramel macchiato and a poppy seed bagel with vegetable cream cheese.
I knew you'd nail the order. Okay. I'm going to cut to the chase. Why do you have so much disdain for this new article?
Well, for one thing, I ended the damn thing with a cliche. As the saying goes, never judge a book by its cover. I sound like a jackass.
So rewrite the ending. I'll admit it's not the best button on a story you've come up with, but other than that, it's an entertaining read. The philosophical punks angle really works. This certainly is on par with the rest of your writing.
I don't know. I think last night I just realized my limitations as a writer and it depressed me. All I ever write are those entertaining puff pieces. My work has no depth. I really should have ripped into those pretentious punks for their insane pseudo-intellectual shtick, but instead I went light and portrayed them as witty academics turned rockers.
Tuck, don't interrupt and listen carefully. You could have been the kind of snotty writer who gets bitchy about their subjects, but that just isn't your style, and you're a better writer for it. There's enough cynical dillweeds on the internet to fill the Mariana Trench. We've always strived to be better than that. Just because you can only write one thing doesn't mean you're untalented. It simply means you found your niche and you're damn good at it. You wouldn't be where you are now if it wasn't for this silly puff piece. Go back and reread this last article. There are some really nice moments.
I don't need to reread the article to find the good parts. I know they were good. I guess the stress of the job is getting to me. I'm afraid I'm going on autopilot. I have my random digressions gimmick, and I feel it's making me stale and predictable.
Or you could see it as you're developing a trademark, a brand.
A brand, huh?
Absolutely. Your voice is unique to you. That's not easy to cultivate in a market that's saturated by everyone with an internet connection and a 5th grade reading level.
Oh no, don't stop now. You're on a roll.
You're Tuck Brockton, the guy that gets celebrities into casual conversations and debates about everyday stuff. That's what people want, to see that these larger than life people they admire are just like them. You do that. And trust me, I understand feeling like you're in a rut, but that doesn't undermine what you've already done. All writers are insecure about their writing. It's the writer's plight. We always think our stuff is crap.
You know, it really is a miracle anything ever gets published. Thanks for the pep talk.
Hey, it's what I do. We all fall into abysses of self-pity from time to time. It's just a matter of how quickly you can climb out of it and whether you are able to find something worthwhile down there. But you're good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Wunderbar. Because on a more selfish note, I need you in top form because something big just fell into my lap last night.
Ah, I should have known there were ulterior motives to your kindness and your understanding.
Naturally. After I left the office last night, I got a call from Emma Embry's agent. She's promoting her new movie, some sci-fi thing. She isn't too keen on it, apparently. She's skipping the press junkets altogether. Her agent convinced her to do one interview, and she's giving it to us under the condition that you do it. She's a big fan, apparently, likes your off the beaten path style. What do you mean you can't do it? This is not an option. I thought we just covered this. You're a good writer. Hell, you were requested by name by one of the fastest rising stars in recent years. That has to be a massive ego boost.
I have a conflict of interest.
This better be a damn good conflict.
She's that Emma.
That Emma who?
You know, the park bench, the day we met.
Wait. Her? Wait, Emma? Wait, why didn't you tell me she was Emma Embry?
It wasn't like she was Emma Embry at the time. And what was I supposed to say? Hey, remember that girl I told you about several years ago? Yeah, she's that hot new starlet.
I don't know. You could have, but Tuck, we can't pass on this. We're still a young magazine. This would be huge for us.
Well, if she isn't going to talk to me, then there's really nothing I can do about it, is there?
Well, maybe this is her way of reaching out to you. She has to know it's you. It would only take a Google search to discover Tuck Brockton as a pseudonym.
Actually, I've done a pretty good job at keeping Tim and Tuck separate. It's not like there's a Wikipedia page about me. Even my LinkedIn page says Tuck on it, and I have a second professional Facebook page for Tuck. At this point, it's really only my family that insists on calling me Tim. I don't think she'd make the connection with a casual Google search. She'd really have to dig.
Maybe she won't recognize you. I mean, your hair looks different. You're a snappier dresser. You've got facial hair. Take your glasses off. You're a whole new man.
I'm not Superman. Taking my glasses off won't suddenly make me unrecognizable.
Actually, if you want to get technical, Superman put on the glasses to become the journalist.
You very cute.
People see what they want to see. Emma will be expecting Tuck Brockton, so she may take you at face value.
When did my life become a contrived 90s sitcom? I half expect Uncle Jesse or Steve Urkel to come around the corner.
Nah, I got someone else on the John Stamos interview.
Cut it out.
Oh, don't you mean cut it out? Is that it? Wait, that's the wrong Full House, Uncle.
Can you please stop? I know you're trying to disarm me with your winning sense of humor, and any other day it would work, but this is serious. I'm not going to pose as someone I'm not just to score an interview.
Oh, come on. You pose as Tuck Brockton in every one of your interviews. If she doesn't recognize you and you don't say anything, what's the big deal?
It's dishonest. I don't know if I like this more manipulative side of you. This whole exclusive thing has really got you hungry for the spotlight, huh?
No, that's not it. When the publisher got wind of this interview, he started putting a lot of pressure on me to make sure we landed this. Emma has a huge social media presence, and if she shares the article, it would be a massive win for the magazine. I'm still having to prove myself here every single day. As long as we're succeeding, I feel safe, but I feel like I'm one screw up from losing my job. I know that sounds like a guilt trip, but it's not.
Did the publisher say that to you?
No. It's probably just my own insecurities. But this could really help get the magazine out of our niche following. I feel gross because I'm regurgitating the same speech I was just given by the publisher, which, given the circumstances, isn't fair. But look at it this way. Maybe this isn't a bad thing. Perhaps this is your opportunity to finally find out what went wrong all those years ago.
Wait, so now I'm telling her who I am?
just meet her. If she doesn't recognize you, do the interview. And you know, if it feels right, reveal your true identity, because that would be a great angle to have.
You don't think she might be a teensy bit upset by the ruse?
Maybe, but please just give it a shot.
Fine. I'll go meet her, but I'm doing this as a favor to a friend and not because you are my editor.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. She's going to come to the office. She doesn't want to be hounded in public, but hey, we can really lean into the 90s sitcom of it, and I can call you 10 minutes into the interview, and if it's going bad, you'll have an out.
Fine. And if it goes south, you'll have my back with the publisher?
Yes, of course. Trust me, this will work out great.
For the record, I still think this is a bad idea.
Duly noted.
Scene 5. Hip Magazine, main office, New York City. Tuck is sitting in the main office waiting for Emma. There's a couch, a large meeting table, a couple of comfy chairs, and a few small chairs scattered around. Tuck is wearing a nice suit and a baseball cap. He is sitting in a chair across from a couch. He fidgets with a pen and notepad. The elevator dings. He quickly takes off his glasses and shoves them in his pocket. Emma, dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, enters. Tuck stands to greet Emma.
Hello, welcome to the offices of HIP. I'm Tuck.
Mr. Brockton, it's wonderful to finally meet you. I'm a big fan.
No need for such formalities. Please just call me Tuck, and I'm a big fan of yours as well.
Emma sits on the couch. Tuck sits in a chair across from her.
I hate to be this person, but did we meet at a red carpet event or something and I totally spaced it? Maybe you just have one of those faces?
We didn't, but you know how New York is. I could have sworn that my high school English teacher, Mr. St. Tiago, was writing the red line.
Oh yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Plus, guys with suits and goatees are a dime a dozen in this town.
This is true. I've lost dates before at award shows. It's just a sea of black tuxes.
Sad but true.
So, where would you like to start? Would you like to hear about my childhood, where I grew up?
No. Why don't we begin with your latest film?
Are you okay? You seem a bit nervous.
Yes, I'm fine. I guess I'm a little nervous since you requested me. It's rare that journalists have fans. That's part of the deal with journalism. Your words get read, but you're sort of anonymous and faceless. But hey, I get to spend my time interviewing celebrities, so I'm not complaining.
Right? Well, don't be nervous. We're just two human beings having a chat.
Okay. So why don't you tell me about this movie you've got coming out?
Right. That thing. It's coming out in the summer, the day the sun went out. It's your standard sci-fi disaster action flick, very Roland Emmerich. I'm the female sidekick, but it wasn't originally what I signed up for, which is why I'm skipping the press junkets.
You do realize you're not supposed to admit that, right?
Yeah, my agent and manager always tell me I need to be out there selling my movies because I'm a star now. And when it's a movie I'm really proud of, I'll talk it up until I'm blue in the face. But Sun is the kind of movie that is a sure thing. It doesn't need me.
Is that why you aren't proud of the film? Because of the way it represents you?
Yes. When I first signed on for the role, it had more substance. I was a co-lead on equal footing with the male lead. She was a smart, funny character, but Then the script doctors came in and the direction of the movie changed. The character was dumbed down significantly. By the end, I was only there for sex appeal. That being said, I refused to appear in some of the more revealing outfits the costume department sent my way.
Well, at least you stuck to your principles. Do you have a movie in production that you are proud of?
Yes, I do. I just finished this small indie film called Fidelity. I think it'll be out by the end of the year. Indie films are what I really love, but if I do the big Hollywood films, it gives me an opportunity to do something small for almost free.
One for them, one for you.
Exactly.
All right, so what is this film about?
Well, it's not really plot based, it's more character and mood based.
And why were you able to connect with it so deeply?
I found it refreshing to find a film that was willing to look at issues seriously, to actually have them at the forefront instead of merely a plot device. There's a lot of discussion of destiny that really spoke to me.
So questions around destiny have always intrigued me, like whether it's possible for two people's lives to go completely separate ways only to reconnect again several years down the road.
Yeah, questions like that are fascinating. Life can be funny in the way it can bring people together in unexpected ways.
Tuck and Emma's eyes lock and the statement hangs in the air for a second. Tuck looks down at his notepad.
The idea of fate makes life seem less chaotic and random.
I agree.
I like to think of life as a game of solitaire.
Oh?
Let's say you have a 7 of hearts and you have the option to move a 6 of clubs or a 6 of spades onto it. If you move either of the black cards onto the red, it will reveal another card underneath. Up to this point, it was just chance and luck of the draw that brought us to this far in the game, but based on which card you drew, it's the rest of the game has changed. But I think the same is true about fate. It can only go so far, and then you have to make a choice. This is where free will comes in.
I guess that makes sense.
So does the film address fate in a similar fashion?
Sort of. There's a scene in the film that had a profound effect on me while shooting. There's a violent car accident and my character's husband is killed, but I only have some bumps and scratches. She begins to wonder if her husband's death was part of some bigger plan and if she survived for a reason. She also begins to take stock of her life and to value the people around her, her friend and family that she took for granted.
It can be hard to know what you have sometimes. There's been times in my life where I felt incredibly connected to someone and I tried to understand why I was lucky enough to have them in my life.
Tuck starts staring off into space, lost in the moment.
It's always so painful when you lose someone you felt connected to and you don't know why.
It can be. My grandmother died. I was crushed. She was fairly young and it was completely unexpected. I went off the radar for a bit. I needed time alone because I didn't understand why she had to go. It was ultimately what helped me find God. I came to realize it was her time and that everything happens for a reason.
I didn't mean losing someone because of death.
Tuck pauses, opens and closes his mouth a couple of times, as if he's going to say something, but doesn't.
Are you okay? Do you have another question?
Never mind, it's not important. Do you really believe that, though? That there is a reason for everything?
Yeah. Don't you feel the same way? The way you were just rambling about fate, it would seem you would.
Yeah, but it's hard not to have doubts from time to time. What if What I believe to be fate is merely a distortion of reality. Memory can twist and bend reality. Maybe it's all just chance.
Tuck's phone rings.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to take this. This is my editor.
Oh, no, that's fine. I understand.
Tuck excuses himself and goes to a corner of the office to speak discreetly. Chloe appears on the other side of the stage. Both are the only ones lit.
Hello.
Hey, champ, how's it going?
It's actually going all right, but I don't think I can handle this much longer.
Did she recognize you?
Sort of, but I BS'd my way through it, which I sort of feel dirty about. Plus, I don't think I can deal with this emotionally. It's stirring up a lot of shit that was better left unstirred.
So what do you want to do?
Make an excuse and get out of here. I almost told her that I was Tim, and then I stopped myself.
Would that be a terrible thing? I don't want to push you into doing something are uncomfortable with, but you were complaining about only being a puff piece guy. Here's your chance to do something bigger, and maybe you could finally find out what happened.
I don't know, maybe.
Listen, as your friend, if you just walk away, I wouldn't blame you. But I think if you don't at least try to get some closure on this, you'll be kicking yourself for the rest of your life.
You're probably right. I don't know what I'm gonna do though.
Whatever you decide, I've got your back.
Thanks.
Tuck hangs up. Chloe leaves the stage. Tuck heads back toward Emma and sits down with some hesitancy.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I just needed to verify a quote for another interview I was working on.
Oh, with who?
Catchy band name?
Oh, I love them. Get the punk out of here. It's my current workout song.
It's a good one. So where were we?
We were talking about my movie Fidelity.
Yeah, so what else drew you to the movie?
Well, while the film doesn't directly deal with talking about God, it's very much about having faith.
Do you have a strong faith?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
I never knew that about you.
Why would you?
I mean, it never came up in my research.
It's not something I talk about much. Religion is something that can be difficult to discuss. There's a certain stigma attached to saying you're a Christian.
Try me. I like to think I'm fairly open-minded.
I believe in God, but I don't have some sort of persecution complex, nor am I gay bashing, right-wing conservative nutbar. I have found my own way to have God in my life.
And that is?
I've looked at other religions, and no other religion is so about love, compassion, and mercy. On the most base level, Christianity is based in love and forgiveness. It's a beautiful thing.
That's why I have an issue with a lot of so-called Christians, because too many people who claim to be Christian are the most intolerant people I know.
It saddens me how many people use religion to justify their intolerances. I came to my faith late in life, which is why I refuse to believe that some of my favorite people are going to hell because of who they love. I see the Bible as a flawed document. It's written by a man. Yes, God spoke through the men that wrote it, but men held the pen, and it's quite possible things got lost in translation.
Not to mention the various translations into different languages may have slightly different meanings.
Right. And even if you believe the Bible says homosexuality is a sin, Jesus is supposed to love all people. That doesn't mean he loves the sin, but the people twist it. Instead of love, it becomes hate.
How do you come to terms with that?
I try to think of the Bible like a cookbook. You can follow the recipes, but there's also room for interpretation and improvisation. The important thing is to get the general idea. But because of this view, the depth of my faith has been questioned by other Christians. It's funny. When I say I'm a Christian, people assume I hate gay people, and because I question the Bible, other Christians question my faith. I can't win.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So it would seem. And yet I still have my belief.
In spite of all this?
Yes, because I keep it focused in an individual level in my personal relationship with God. I think it can get sketchy when you get a whole bunch of people together because people are fallible and prone to stupid mistakes, especially when a group mentally switches to a mob mentality. But I can't deny there have been times in my life when I felt what I believe was the presence of God. And that helped me through some hard times. And no one, not the church or some fanatic, can take that away from me.
I've never really felt anything quite like that before.
Do you have faith in your life?
Religion in general isn't for me. I get why people have faith in religion. I rather have faith in people. And I do. I have faith in my friends and my family.
As long as you have faith in something, I think it's impossible to live without having faith, even if it's only in humanity.
With all the evil in the world, it can be hard to believe in humanity and that people are innately good. That in itself can be a leap of faith. I do believe that despite all of our flaws, that people are good. It can just be hard to find at times.
Sounds like you have the ideals of a Christian.
You don't need to be a Christian to know right from wrong or to see the good in others. This idea that basic human decency is exclusively a Christian ideal leads to a holier-than-thou superiority complex.
You seem to harbor a lot of resentment towards Christianity.
Oh, I don't. As you said, it's supposed to be a religion based in love. It is the practice of it that bothers me. In my heart, I don't believe 100% in the existence of God. I'm a skeptic. My mind is very logical, so I need to see tangible evidence, which I have yet to see.
And what would qualify as tangible evidence?
I don't know. I guess I'd know it when I saw it. It isn't like I'm expecting God to come down and have a chat with me. Hey, Tuck, what the fuck? You don't believe in me? You kind of suck.
I don't think God would say that.
Well, you didn't let me finish. Buck up. You're in luck. I'm a forgiving guy. I mean, if there's a God, I'd like to think he'd really be into rhyming.
I don't know. Maybe.
I was trying to be funny. You would have...
Tuck catches himself, but realizes it's too late.
I would have what?
You would have laughed at that in the past.
Tuck removes his hat and puts his glasses on. Emma looks confused for a second and then realizes who Tuck is.
Wait, Tim?
Yeah, Tuck is my pen name.
Damn it! I knew I recognized you. What the hell? Why didn't you say something?
Last I knew, you weren't speaking to me. I didn't think you'd talk to me if you knew it was me.
Wait, you didn't think I could be professional? How do you think I am?
I don't know. When I realized I was going to talk to you, all those emotions came flooding back. I felt 18 again.
Well, I'm at a loss. I feel violated. You should have either admitted to being Tim all along or should have just remained Tuck the whole time. At least then I would have been none the wiser.
I wasn't even going to say anything, but I guess I'm searching for some closure.
Is that what this is about? Closure? To what? Something that happened nearly a decade ago? Has it really been bothering you that much?
I didn't think it was. I thought I had left it in the past, but then you came very directly back into my life.
Well, you were right. It's in the past. Leave it there. If you want closure, go see the day the sun went out.
But all I want to know is why our friendship ended. Doesn't it seem like we were brought together for a reason? It can't be mere coincidence out of all the writers in the world that you chose me to do this interview.
You think fate brought us together to give you some finality on something that you admittedly haven't thought about in years?
I don't know how fate works. Stranger things have happened.
Oh, I thought it was like solitaire. You know what? I thought it was cool in your interview how you go off on weird little detours. But now I see things more clearly. You just like hearing the sound of your own voice and prattle about your views. Guess what, Tuck? Not everything is about you. Clearly, some people never change.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know exactly what it means. But sure, let's play your game and say we were brought together by fate. You said the fate can only bring you so far, then you have to make a choice. Well, I'm choosing not to give you your closure.
But why? What is it to you?
Because if you are so dense as to not know why it ended, you aren't deserving of the answer.
Oh, come on. We were best friends.
Are you kidding me? Best friends? We were never that close. You were just some guy I hung out with.
Oh, come on. I was more than that.
Not much more. Because isn't it telling I haven't thought about you once in years?
Well, clearly I must have meant something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so pissed.
I'm pissed because of how you manipulated this situation. And yeah, like you said, this encounter has brought up some long dormant feelings for me too. I guess I'm still bitter.
But what was all that talk about love and forgiveness? Was that all just talk? An act for the journalist to showcase how deep and religious you are?
How dare you question my faith?
Forgive me if, given the circumstances, I might question how deeply you believe the values you so passionately preached to me just mere moments ago. It certainly seems like you were just giving lip service to the ideas of love and forgiveness. Where's your compassion?
I also said humans are fallible because in the heat of the moment, sometimes your sense of compassion and forgiveness can be blinded.
And if you're aware of the block, then why can't you remove it?
Because perhaps I'm not as good of a person as I'd like to think I am. Because I'm choosing to make the mistake I'll repent later.
Emma stands up to leave.
Well, whatever I did must have been pretty terrible, and for what it's worth, I am sorry.
Fuck you. This interview is over. Have a nice day.
Emma walks away. Tuck waits a little while and then slowly walks away as well. Scene 6. Tuck's office at Hip. Tuck is sitting slumped in his office chair. Chloe knocks on the open door and comes in.
So, how are you doing?
Not great.
I figured. I was on the phone with Emma's representation for an hour. She pulled the interview.
I figured. I'm sorry. I know we needed it. How's the publisher taking it?
Don't worry about it. I'll handle it. Chuck is all bluster. Do I even want to know what happened?
Well, let's just say it ended with a fuck you, but she did wish me a nice day.
Oh, wasn't that kind of her?
She told me I was just some guy she used to hang out with.
Ouch. Didn't you used to be close?
I thought we were, but when I really look back on it, I realized I didn't truly know her. Not really. She was a cipher. She liked whatever the people around her liked. She was able to fit in anywhere. It's probably why she's such a good actor.
So, no big loss then, right?
I guess. Here's the thing. There were a couple moments when there were cracks in the facade. I had the opportunity to get to know her as a person. Not as the Emma I used to know, not as Emma the movie star, the real Emma. But instead of zooming in, I zoomed out and talked about things in broad, generalized terms. She said something that I can't shake. Chloe, do you think I'm arrogant? Do I just like to hear myself talk?
You like to be right. You like to argue. To people who don't know you, you can come off as full of yourself.
Well, that's a honest answer. You know, you could have given me a heads up that I'm a pompous pontificator.
It isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's your best and worst quality. It's what makes you a great interviewer because you challenge people. I didn't mention it because I didn't want to make you self-conscious.
Well, what if that behavior has been holding me back? I used to actually listen. Maybe that's what I was feeling the other day. I so needed to be right with Emma. She had every right to be pissed at me, but I got all self-righteous. In a matter of minutes, we went from a thoughtful conversation to being back in high school. Heck, even hiding my identity in the first place seemed juvenile. I should have had the maturity to face her from the beginning.
Do you really think it would have made a difference?
She claimed it would have. It said we both could have been professionals and ignored the past.
Really think it would have been possible?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm sorry I pushed you into doing this and causing all this grief. If I'm being honest, it was more than just wanting it for the magazine. I wanted it for myself. I never told you this, but back when we were in college, my mom's high school sweetheart came back into her life. He was her white knight. She'd lost her job, and so he helped her get a job working at the real estate company he was part of. It was like something out of a movie.
That's really sweet, but I'm not seeing the connection.
Just stay with me. It was sweet until he turned into an SFF.
SFF?
Stupid fuckface.
Ah, so what? He made this grand gesture of moving for her just to dump her?
Yep. Gave some bullshit reason that working with her, he saw her true colors, called her sloppy and disorganized.
I've met Denise. Sloppy and disorganized are the last words I would use to describe her.
Right? After that, I sort of closed off to that sort of rom-com love story, to love in general. I became jaded. I put all my energy into my career. I didn't have any time for SFFs. And then here comes Emma and a chance for a picture perfect reconciliation. I really needed you to get that fairy tale ending. On a certain level, I was hoping this might renew my faith in that sort of magic.
It isn't your fault. I could have said no at any point. I have to take responsibility for my actions. I went along with it because I wanted some perfect movie moment too. Not that she was a lost love, but to get the sort of closure that only exists in movies.
You could have said no, but as your editor and especially as your friend, I shouldn't have let you go through with it. I failed you on both accounts.
Well, if you failed me, I failed you too. The other day, you had a shitty day and you went out of your way to bring me Taco Bell.
Hey, that's what friends do.
No, that's a cry for help. You were one Ben and Jerry's pint short of a Hallmark movie. You needed a friend at that moment.
Tuck, it's okay.
Oh, it isn't. Because it was clearly more than just the other day. I lean on you far too much. You've always been the one who picks me up when I'm down. It's why you're a great editor. I used to do that for you too. I'm sorry. I should have noticed that you haven't been happy.
Tuck, I'm not depressed. I love my job. I worked hard to get this high up in the food chain, and I work hard to stay at the top, but this has always been my dream. But I need to work on me some more.
Regardless, I should have noticed. I should have taken you out for ice cream or something. We both spend way too much time in this office.
I appreciate that. I guess we both could have done better by each other.
You know, there might be a happy ending in all of this after all.
Oh?
I've been retracing my steps. Sort of like one of those choose your own adventure books, like where you make the wrong choice, you can go back and see where the other path would have gone. We can't do that in life, but we can go back and try to see why things happen the way that they did and perhaps come to see the bigger picture.
Okay. So how does Emma fit into the big picture?
Emma is what brought us together. That conversation on the bench is the origin story of our dynamic duo.
Well, sure, but we had classes together. We would have met sooner or later.
Yeah, but the first encounter started us off on the right path. Our friendship started there. And maybe this is just me struggling for closure, but I'd say that losing Emma as a friend and gaining you as one is more than a fair trade.
Aw, Tuck. That's a really nice way of looking at it. If Emma truly is the reason we are friends, maybe I should call up Emma's agent and have her thank Emma for giving me my best friend.
You're my best friend too. I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't met you, truly.
Probably working at a movie theater, arguing with teens about their shitty taste in movies.
You're probably not wrong. You balance me out.
And you're one of the only people who gets me and can keep up with me.
That means a lot to me.
Well, it's true.
You know, even with my grand revelation, I'm still very much feeling all of this. I'm gonna go home and lick my wounds.
Well, you do owe me a cover story.
Really? That's your move right now?
Come on. She seems really cool. Trust me, this one will be fun.
You know, you said to trust you about Emma too.
Hey, we all make mistakes.
All right, set it up.
Scene 7, Cafe 80s. Tuck sits waiting as Kay Summers approaches the table. She is dressed in a miniskirt with a low-cut top.
Hi, I'm Kay Summers. You must be Tuck?
I am. Do you mind if we just get straight to it?
No, that's fine.
So, as a model, how do you feel you are as a role model?
I hope that I'm a good role model. I'm striving to represent what a successful woman can be and encourage others to follow their dreams.
Do you feel your body represents a realistic goal for young girls?
I know that not every girl looks like me. I used to be a flat-chested pole until I was in junior in high school. And then I got curvy. I went from the shy girl no one noticed to the girl guys drooled over. I feel bad if photos of me make girls hate themselves. I certainly don't think all girls need to look like me, but taking those pictures makes me feel empowered.
Do you have any control over how you're photographed?
Not really. Not yet. When you're starting out, you don't really have much say. I mean, I'm finding success, but I'm still pretty new at this. I don't want to be seen as a troublemaker.
Do you fear that you're telling girls that the only way to succeed is to use their bodies?
I know I'm lucky because of the way I look. I get to do things others can't, and that doors were open for me. I'm inside that door now, so I'm hoping to make a difference from the inside. But I'm scared to take a chance.
What do you have to be scared of?
People take one look at me and assume I'm just some bimbo. I'm not dumb, but I have to work twice as hard to prove it.
Well, maybe if you dress the part more.
Excuse you? You do realize the message girls receive on a daily basis is that the only way to be accepted is to be skinny and sexy, right? It's everywhere we look. Well, I'm reclaiming that message. I dress like this for me, not for anyone else. Dressing this way makes me feel confident. Dressing like this is my choice. It's my power. I can be sexy and smart. It isn't one or the other. If you have a problem with that, we can call this off right now.
You're right. I was rude. You have every right to be proud of your body without the judgment of others. I apologize. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be. Can we start over? You deserve better than that.
Sure.
I swear that's not me. It's just, let's say I've had an interesting couple of days that have nothing to do with you, and I shouldn't have taken it out on you.
Oh.
Long story, but this isn't about me. It is about you. So, tell me, how are you making a difference from the inside? How are you reclaiming the message?
I'm in the process of developing a fashion line. I wanted to find a way to express myself. Actually studied graphic design in college. I want women to have clothes that make them feel sexy and confident on their own terms, no matter what shape they are.
That's admirable. So how's it come along?
Well, I know it's on Vogue right now, but I keep going back to the 80s and 90s. I'm trying to find a way to make punk and grunge meet high fashion, but ideally not charge a 13-year-old girl $100 for a pair of ripped jeans.
Thank you. Finally, someone in the fashion industry gets it. Well, all right, here's something I've always wanted to know. How often do models fall off of runways?
Chloe walks by. She smiles when she sees Tuck and Kay laughing and realizes Tuck is back doing what he does best. Tuck catches her glaze and smiles back and mouths, "Thank you." Chloe walks off, still smiling.